There are places on this planet that feel like glitches in reality. Landscapes so impossible they seem rendered by a broken engine rather than formed by Earth itself. They burn without fuel, bleed without wounds, flash with endless lightning, and shimmer in colors no natural law should allow. And they exist exactly where maps say they do, quietly. In the Karakum Desert of Turkmenistan, a crater has burned for decades, a wound of fire known as the door to hell. Scientists ignited escaping methane in 1971 to prevent its spread, expecting the flames to die within days. Instead, the Earth continues to exhale gas from ancient deposits beneath the sand, feeding an unending inferno quietly. At night, the crater roars like a living furnace, its walls glowing orange against black desert sky. Heat ripples distort the air, and the smell of sulfur settles heavy in the lungs. There is no visible source of fuel, no machinery, only a pit of endless combustion that feels mythic. It seems carved from some other world. Thousands of miles away in Antarctica, a glacier appears to bleed. From a fracture in the Taylor Glacier, a deep red liquid spills over white ice, staining the frozen surface like fresh blood. Early explorers believed it was algae or some unknown organism thriving in impossible cold. But the truth lies hidden beneath the ice for centuries. The red comes from iron-rich brine trapped beneath the glacier for millions of years, sealed away from oxygen and light. When the liquid reaches air, the iron oxidizes, turning the flow crimson, as if the continent itself were rusting from within. Life survives there, microbial and ancient. It thrives in darkness where nothing should breathe at all. On the western edge of Australia, Lake Hillier holds a color that defies expectation. The water is a saturated pink, bubblegum bright against eucalyptus forest and blue ocean. The hue persists even when collected in glass, refusing to fade like a trick of light. Salt-loving algae and bacteria produce pigments that overwhelm the spectrum beyond normal perception. It looks synthetic, as though dye has been poured from the sky, yet it is chemistry operating precisely within saline limits. The lake feels playful at first glance, then unsettling because nature rarely chooses colors associated with candy and childhood. Standing beside it, the mind struggles to reconcile sweetness with sterile salt flats under relentless sun glare. Above Venezuela's Lake Maracaibo, the sky fractures almost nightly. Warm Caribbean air collides with cool mountain winds, creating a self-sustaining storm engine known as Catatumbo lightning. Bolts erupt in rapid succession for hours, sometimes hundreds each minute, illuminating clouds from within. The atmosphere reloads itself continuously, like a weapon pointed at the horizon that never rests fully. Sailors once used the flashes as navigation, calling it a lighthouse without walls. Yet there is something unnerving about lightning that seems permanent. A storm system that rarely sleeps. It suggests the planet possesses circuits and currents far beyond human design. Energy gathers invisibly until it demands release in blinding white arcs across the trembling night sky. On the island of Socotra, trees rise like umbrellas turned inside out. Dragon's blood trees branch into dense canopies, trapping moisture from thin air in a land that resembles another planet. Isolation over millions of years allowed evolution to wander into strange territory. Each silhouette seems sketched by imagination rather than climate and soil alone at all. In Ethiopia's Danakil Depression, the ground bubbles in toxic yellows and acidic greens. Hydrothermal springs release sulfuric gases, and temperatures regularly exceed human tolerance. Tectonic plates pull apart beneath this basin, thinning Earth's crust until magma lies disturbingly close to the surface. The air shimmers with heat and chemistry that feels hostile to existence itself entirely here. Acid pools crust over with delicate mineral patterns, beautiful and lethal at once. Microorganisms endure in brine and heat, proving life adapts even in landscapes that resemble primordial Earth. Standing there feels like trespassing on an unfinished draft of the planet. Creation and destruction blur together beneath a sun that refuses mercy for anything that breathes nearby. Each of these places obeys physics and chemistry with ruthless precision. Yet they feel like violations. They expose processes normally hidden beneath soil, ice, or sea, revealing that Earth is less stable than it appears. Beneath calm landscapes, reactions churn, gases build, plates grind. The extraordinary is not elsewhere. It is threaded through everything waiting beneath familiar ground. When we call these places anomalies, we reveal more about expectation than reality. The planet is not obligated to resemble our sense of normal. It forges fire pits in deserts, bleeds iron in ice, paints lakes pink, electrifies, sculpts alien forests, and boils its own crust, as if something stranger still waits below beyond our sight. And beneath those burning craters and bleeding glaciers, the planet continues downward into pressures and shapes we rarely imagine. Far below the calm surface of the Pacific lies a trench so deep that light itself surrenders, crushed by weight that would flatten steel like paper in a closing fist, where darkness behaves like solid matter without mercy. The Mariana Trench exists where tectonic plates collide, one sliding beneath another in a process called subduction. Over millions of years, the descending slab has carved a scar nearly 11 kilometers deep, creating a valley inside the ocean itself. Pressure there exceeds 1,000 times what we feel at sea level, reshaping matter silently and relentlessly always. In that abyss, life still persists, translucent creatures drifting through cold black water as if gravity has changed its rules. Some organisms build proteins that resist crushing forces. Others glow with bioluminescent pulses to communicate in endless night. The trench feels less like a place and more like a boundary between possible and unthinkable worlds for us. From the depth we rise to the Sahara, where an enormous spiral scars the desert plain. The Richet structure, often called the Eye of the Sahara, spans nearly 50 kilometers across, concentric rings visible. Even from orbit, it appears artificial, like a target etched into sand by deliberate design, as though something ancient marked territory here once. Yet geology explains it without invoking intention. Erosion exposed layers of sedimentary rock after a dome of magma pushed upward, and later cooled. Wind and time carved the rings, revealing structure that once lay hidden underground. Still, from above it, resembles an iris staring back, unblinking beneath open sky, watching caravans cross shifting dunes endlessly in silence. Further south, Mount Roraima rises like a stone island suspended above jungle seas. Its flat summit and sheer cliffs form a tabletop mountain, the remnant of ancient sandstone shaped by relentless rain and uplift. Clouds wrap its edges, hiding the plateau from view, as if protecting a separate world isolated for millions of years above forests below. On that summit, species evolved in isolation, carnivorous plants and unique amphibians adapting to thin soils and constant mist. The plateau feels like a fragment of deep time lifted intact into the present. Standing there, you sense that evolution does not move evenly across Earth. It pools and separates, experimenting quietly beyond our ordinary perception and maps. In Death Valley, stones once seemed to move on their own, dragging long tracks across dry lake beds. For decades, no one witnessed the motion, and speculation filled the silence. The desert floor looked like a stage after invisible actors had passed, rearranging props without footprints or sound. Then thin ice and gentle winds revealed physics at work. In Poland, A small grove of pines curves sharply at their bases, trunks bending northward before rising straight again. The crooked forest feels intentional, as though gravity briefly tilted during their growth. Most scientists suspect human shaping, perhaps for boat timber, yet no records confirm the purpose clearly. Their synchronized curves resemble a question carved in wood. Off the coast of Belize, a nearly perfect circle interrupts turquoise water, descending into a dark blue void. The blue hole formed during ice ages, when limestone caves collapsed as sea levels rose. From above, it looks like a pupil dilating in bright ocean light. Divers descend through layers of shadow toward stalactites, suspended underwater in silence. In the Black Sea, explorers discovered what appears to be a river flowing beneath the surface. Denser saltwater, rich with sediments, carves channels along the seabed, complete with banks and currents. It behaves like a terrestrial stream, yet moves entirely underwater, guided by gravity and density differences. It suggests hidden circulatory systems within planetary oceans still unseen. When viewed together, these phenomena feel less isolated and more interconnected. Trenches swallow crust, domes rise, mountains fracture, deserts shift, oceans stratify, heat circulates from core to atmosphere, pressure redistributes, chemistry reacts across scales we barely perceive. The planet resembles a system adjusting itself constantly, testing boundaries through motion and change like breathing beneath our steady feet. We often imagine Earth as stable ground, a platform for our stories and structures. Yet beneath that confidence lies ceaseless transformation, forces folding rock, igniting storms, separating species, carving patterns, visible from space. The impossible places are not exceptions. They are disclosures, brief glimpses of a planet that refuses simplicity and rewrites itself without asking permission daily. Perhaps the unsettling realization is not that these places exist, but that they are ordinary expressions of deeper processes still unfolding. If oceans can open abysses, deserts can shape eyes, and mountains can isolate time, then what else is forming quietly beyond the horizon, waiting for pressure, erosion, or chance to reveal something we are not prepared to understand?